A very good morning, guys. Hope you are all good, following all the classes regularly. Today we are coming with our new session of chemistry, that is studying of first PU topics that are left for the discussion of coaching part. From that, today we are going to start. The first topic is periodic table. Periodic table. This is one of the basic concepts of the chemistry, which has a good weightage in NEET examination as well as CET examination. Generally in NEET, there is a weightage of 1 to 2 questions. In the NEET examination, we may get up to 2 questions or at least 1 question. It is not only important for this weightage, but it is also important for the understanding of the rest of the topics of the chemistry. We have already studied the periodic table. We are going to briefly discuss about the main aspects that are essential to solve the different type of questions in the various type of competitive examinations. Alright? When it comes to the term periodic table, the periodic table is generally considered as it is a systematic table of way of arrangement of elements. It represents the systematic tabular arrangement of elements. That is, elements are arranged in a particular order in different rows and columns in the periodic table. Generally, such a table is considered as periodic table because the properties in the periodic table generally repeats in a specific manner, and it is considered as a periodic table. First of all, before going into the further details into the periodic table, we need to understand the purpose of arranging the elements in a particular order must be understood. Why we need to classify the elements? First of all, why we have to arrange them in a particular manner in the periodic table? That is what we need to understand first of all. Right? There are very large number of compounds that occurs in the nature, and very large number of compounds has been synthesized with the development of science, which we use for various purposes in our daily life. Large number. If you want to study the properties of all these compounds, it will be very difficult. It will take a lot of effort, lot of time. One's lifetime is not enough to study or to come a basic awareness regarding all these elements and their compounds. In order to make this understanding of the various chemical compounds and their properties, we have found out a way by going through the elements, because even though there are very large number of compounds, all these elements are formed by very limited number of elements. That is, there are total of 118 elements are there in the periodic table. All the elements has been ratified, so far we can consider as 118 elements, but as per the book it is given 114 elements, and the remaining 4 elements also has been ratified in a modern periodic table. So we can consider as 118, but the record of NCERT we can include this 114 elements. Right? These 180 elements altogether will form very large number. Millions of compounds are available in the nature naturally, and millions of compounds has been prepared. Are formed by very limited 180 elements. Out of all these elements up to 92 are natural elements that occurs naturally in the nature, and the rest of the elements of 92 are known as transuranic elements. These are also called as synthetic elements. synthetic elements or radioactive elements. Radioactive elements, because they have been synthesized artificially, and all these elements exhibit radioactivity. The phenomenon of radioactivity, they are considered as radioactive elements. These very few number of elements, when you compare with the number of compounds that we have available and the number of elements that are forming, this is very limited number of elements. If you arrange these elements in a particular manner, so that we can have a better idea and better extent of understanding about the compounds that they are forming. For that purpose, the scientists have started arranging the elements in a systematic manner. Now we will see the history and development of periodic table. How we are having a present form of periodic table. It has been developed over hundreds of years. We will see all the efforts of different sciences who are involved in the development of the periodic tables. Further, we need to discuss the earlier attempts of classification of elements. We will see the efforts of various scientists and their principle of classification and their drawbacks in this session. The first classification was given by Lavoisier. Lavoisier, for his work done in the chemistry, is regarded as father of chemistry. Lavoisier had classified the elements into metals and non-metals. We know the properties of metal, and we are also aware of the properties of non-metal. Generally, metals are electropositive in nature. All the electropositive elements are considered as metals, and all the electronegative elements are considered as non-metals. What is meant by electropositive nature? The tendency of an element to lose electrons is called as electropositive nature, whereas the tendency of an element to accept the electrons or gaining the electrons is called as electronegative elements. He has classified all the known elements into metals and non-metals. This was the first most effort to classify the elements in the history of chemistry. Now, the drawback of this particular classification was, if you are looking at the drawback of Lavoisier classification, there are some elements that have the properties of both metals and non-metals, which are generally considered as metallites. Lavoisier classification could not able to explain the properties of the metallites. So because of that reason, this classification was ruled out. The second effort to classify the elements was made by Daubernet's classification, it is also regarded Daubernet's classification of elements, or it is also called as Daubernet's triads. In this classification, Daubernet has classified elements into triads. He has classified the elements into triads. Let us see what is meant by a triad. Triad means a group of three elements. Triad means a group of three elements. That means he has divided all the known elements into group of three elements, which he has considered as triad. On the basis of triad, What this Strad law says that according to Doubleday, the atomic weight of the middle element, was approximately equal to the average atomic weight of other two elements, and their properties, and the properties of middle element was in between the properties of other. This was the Doubleday-Strad law. According to him, the atomic weight of middle element was approximately equal to the average atomic weight of the other two elements, and the properties of the middle element was found to be in between the properties of the other two elements. Based on this, he has proposed certain triads. The triads that are being proposed by Doubleday law. What is Doubleday-Strad law? The atomic weight of the middle element was arithmetic mean of the other two elements, and the properties of the middle element will be in between the properties of the other two. If you are taking the examples that he has given, the first example we can take lithium, sodium, and potassium. What are the atomic weights of lithium, sodium, and potassium? Very good. Atomic weight of lithium is 7, sodium is 23, and potassium is 39. What Doubleday-Strad law says? The arithmetic mean of other two elements should be equal to the middle element. That is, the atomic weight of lithium is 7 and potassium is 39. If you are taking average of this, which will comes to be equal to 20, which is the atomic weight of the sodium. And he said that the properties of sodium will be in between the properties of lithium and potassium. This is the first triad proposed by Doubleday. You can see the other examples such as chlorine, bromine, iodine. If you take the atomic mass of chlorine will be 35.5, bromine is 80, and so iodine is 126. You see the average of first and last, that is 35.5 plus 127. It comes to be equal to 81.2, which is approximately equal to the atomic weight of the bromine. Then give the other examples such as calcium, strontium, and barium. Here, what is the atomic weight of calcium? 40, strontium 88, barium 137. If you verify the Doubleday-Strad law, here it will be 40 plus 137, 12 will be equal to 88.5. It is also approximately equal to the atomic weight of the strontium. But there are some triads in which atomic weight of all the elements are equal. For example, if you are taking iron, cobalt, nickel, here all these three elements are having approximately same atomic weights. Atomic weight of iron will be 56, atomic weight of cobalt is 58.6, and atomic weight of cobalt will be 58.9, atomic weight of nickel will be 58.6. If you say there are approximately, these are called triads of approximate atomic mass. And what was the main drawback? One of the important aspects about the Dabonir is that he was the first person to establish the relation between atomic weight and properties of the elements. He tried to relate the properties of elements with the atomic weights. Based on that only he thought that as there is certain similarity in the atomic weight, he thought that there might be some similarity in the properties of the elements. Based on that only he has proposed his triads law. The main drawback of this triad law is that he could not classify all the known elements. This was not applicable for all the known elements at the time of Dauberton. This was the main drawback. If you are proposing a particular rule or principle, that should be applicable for all the elements. So it was applicable for only a few examples or few triads. It might be a coincidence. So because of that, it has been ruled as it cannot be applicable for all the elements. The next attempt made to classify the elements was the Charpentier's classification. Here he has arranged elements in the increasing order. In the increasing order of the atomic weights in cylindrical manner. In cylindrical pattern. He has arranged the elements in the increasing order in a cylindrical pattern. For example, if you are taking, he has arranged the elements in a cylindrical manner like this. Suppose you are taking hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, sodium. At the time of Dauberton, he was not aware of Nobilius elements. Nobilius elements were not discovered. Like this, he has arranged the elements in the order of increasing order of atomic weights. And what he has observed is that all the elements having similar properties were lying on same line. This was the cause of the repetition of the properties. So, in a cylindrical pattern, elements having similar properties falls on same line. This classification is also called as telluric helix arrangement. It is also called as telluric helix arrangement because of the pattern in which he has arranged the elements. The drawback of this particular model was that most of the elements lying in the same line were not found to have similar properties. The purpose of classification to have all the elements should come in one line with a similar properties. Even though he has able to arrange the elements in a cylindrical pattern where all the elements are having similar properties are falling in one line, most of the elements that are coming under the one line are not having same properties. That was the main drawback of this particular classification, which is de Charpentier's classification. if you want, you can take the notes by taking the screenshot. I'm erasing it fastly, quickly, because you already have these notes with you. You can follow our college material. You can refer the NCERT. Now the next attempt to classify the elements was made by Newland's classification. It is also called as Newland's law of optics. Newland's law of optics. In the year 1865, right, Newland has arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses, and he found that when he has done so, he found that every eighth element was found to have the similar properties as that of the first element. Based on this, he has proposed law of optics. This law of optics can be comparable with the musical notes such as Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa. As after every 7, the 8th note will be same as the first note. What is its main criteria of classification? When elements are arranged in the increasing order of the atomic weights. Every 8th element was found to have similar properties that of first element. For example, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Sir, do you get their atomic weights? Atomic weight of lithium. He has arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic weight. 7, 9, 11, 12, 14, 16, 19. Right? Sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. Their atomic weights are, if you see their atomic weights, 23, 24, 27, 28, 31, 32 and 35.5. Potassium and calcium. Here, potassium will be 39 and calcium will be 40. Yes, went on arranging the elements according to their properties in increasing order of atomic weights. When he has found another element with the same properties as that of the first element, he placed that particular element below the first element. That is how he got a tabular form of arrangement of elements. He was the first scientist to arrange the elements in a particular pattern and found the periodicity in the properties. And the main drawbacks of this particular classification. The main drawback of this particular classification was it cannot be applicable. It cannot be applicable for all the elements, for all the known elements. All the known elements at that time. It explains it is applicable elements up to calcium only. That is, it is applicable only for lower elements, or we call it as lighter elements. It is applicable only for lighter elements. It cannot applicable for higher elements. It cannot applicable for higher or we say heavier elements. These are the drawbacks. In every classification, you need to understand the basic criteria of the classification as well as the drawbacks of the classification, because these merits and demerits are only going to be questioned in the objective questions. Right? This was the fourth classification. It was made to classify the elements. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. Quickly, I'll remove this. The next classification was made by Lothar-Meyer classification. Lothar-Meyer classification. Lothar-Meyer and Mendeleev simultaneously and individually has developed a new periodic table based on different criteria. Lothar-Meyer has studied the physical properties. Lothar-Meyer has studied the physical properties of elements such as atomic value, boiling point, melting point, and density, etc. He has thoroughly studied the physical properties of the elements such as atomic value, boiling point, melting point, and density. And he has plotted the graph by taking graph of atomic value versus atomic weight. He has arranged the elements, he has represented the elements in the graphical form by plotting the graph of atomic value versus atomic weight. If you look at the graph, it will be, this is the Lothar-Meyer's periodic table or arrangement of elements. Atomic value and atomic weight. When you plot the graph, you will get a curve in this manner. Right? Here, if you arrange the elements, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, sodium, it will be potassium, it will be rubidium. Right? Here, in this graphical form, he has constructed the periodic table. Here, if you go and arrange the elements, it will be magnesium like this. Here it will be fluorine, calcium. The main aspects of this particular arrangement is that the main points of Lothar-Meyer's classification elements is that he has represented the elements in the graphical form by plotting a curve taking atomic value and atomic weight. In this curve, alkali metals, main aspects of the Lothar-Meyer's classification, have higher atomic value. Atomic value occupies the maximum of the curve. Occupies the maximum of the curve. That means all the peak positions are occupied by alkali metals. Whereas alkali earth metals alkali earth metals are present in the middle. They occupies descending positions. They occupies descending positions of the curve. Generally, if you see here, this is the alkali metal sodium, and the next descending position was occupied by magnesium. Whereas halogens are also present in the middle, and they occupies ascending positions of the curve. If you see here, this is a chlorine. It is present in the ascending position of the curve. Whereas transition metals occupies minima of the curve. They are present at the base of the curve. Suppose we are taking this will be scandium, somewhere like this. This is the Lothar-Weiss classification of elements. And what is the main drawback? If you are looking at the drawback of Lothar-Weiss, this particular classification does not have practical utility. It is very difficult to use this particular, even though it has a having these similar properties repeating with the certain regular intervals of time. It is very difficult to produce this periodic table every time needed, and it is very difficult to exclude the data from particular curve or graph. So because of that reason, this was ruled out. And the next classification was made by Mendeleev classification, which is a very, very important classification for us in the comparative point of view also. From this particular classification, the main things to be noted down is that what are the positions of various type of elements. Alkali metals occupies the maximum of the curve due to their highest atomic value, and alkali earth metals occupies the mid position, that is the descending portion of the curve, whereas halogens occupies mid position, ascending positions of the curve, whereas transition metals with the least atomic value occupies the minimum of the curve. These 4 points to be noted down from the Lothar-Weiss classification, and the drawback is it does not have any practical utility. If you want, you can take a screenshot for writing notes. The next important classification was made by Mendeleev's classification. Mendeleev's classification of elements, which is a landmark classification in the history of and development of periodic table. In the year 1869, Dmitry Mendeleev proposed periodic law. He has proposed a periodic law for the first time. For his work done in the development of periodic table was regarded as father of periodic table, and for the first time he has proposed a periodic law. Let us see what is the Mendel's periodic law. Mendel's periodic law says that Mendeleev's periodic law says that physical and chemical properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic weights. That means periodic properties of elements, that is physical and chemical properties of elements, will correlate to their atomic weights. Mendeleev has arranged elements in the tabular form. This is the important point. For the first time, yes, tabularize the elements in increasing order. In increasing order of their atomic weights. In which, what is meant by tabular form of arrangement? The tabular form of arrangement consists vertical columns and horizontal rows. Here, the vertical columns are regarded as groups and the horizontal rows are regarded as periods. In the Mendel's periodic table, there were 9 groups. There were 9 groups, which are generally represented as 8 plus 0. This 0 group elements were later introduced by. In the original Mendel's periodic table, there were only 8 groups, and the 0 group was introduced in the Mendel's periodic table by 2 scientists, namely Ramsay and Rayleigh. So that the total number of groups in the Mendel's periodic table were 9. And the horizontal rows were called as periods. There are total 7 periods in the Mendel's periodic table. Right? Out of this 9 groups, except 0 and 8th group, all other groups are subdivided into 2 groups, that is A and B, except 0 and 8 group. Remaining all the groups are subdivided into 2 groups, that is A and B. These A group elements are called normal or main group elements. Normal or main group elements. And B group elements are called as transition elements. Transition elements. What is meant by this? For example, if you are taking first group of the Mendel's periodic table, this is being divided into 2 subgroups, that is first A and first B. Here, these first A group elements first group consists main group or normal group elements, and the first B consists transition elements. For example, if you are talking about the first group, here first A consists elements such as lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, etc. When it comes to the first B, it consists the transition elements. What are first B transition elements? Such as copper, silver, gold, etc. In the same way, if you are talking about second group, the second group is also divided into 2A and 2B. What are second A group elements? Very good. What are second A group elements? Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, etc. And what are the secondary elements? The secondary elements are zinc, cadmium, mercury, like this. If you are going for the third group, it will be 2, third A, third B. Third A will be the general normal elements, that is boron, aluminium, gallium, etc. And what about third B? This will be scandium, yttrium, and lanthanum, etc. In a similar manner, if you are going for the fourth group, it will be of fourth A and fourth B. It will be of fourth A and fourth B. What are the fourth A group elements? What are the fourth A group elements? Very good. What are those? Carbon, silicon, germanium. And what are the examples of fourth B? Very good. Titanium, zirconium, hafnium, etc. The similar manner, if you are going for the fifth group, it is also divided into fifth A and fifth B. What are the elements of fifth A? Fifth A elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, whereas fifth B will be vanadium, and niobium and tantalum, etc. The similar manner, sixth also having two, sixth A and sixth B. What are sixth A? Sixth A will be oxygen, sulfur, selenium. Sixth B will be chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, etc. The similar manner, if you are going to the seventh, it will be seventh A will be fluorine, chlorine, bromine. Seventh B elements are, what are seventh B elements? Very good. Manganese, magnesium, etc. But the important thing to be noted down is that in the eighth group, there are total 9 elements. There are total of 9 elements. What are the 9 elements? Iron, cobalt, nickel, and ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, and osmium, iridium, and platinum. This is a very important thing to be noted down. What are the key aspects? Mendeleev has arranged the elements into the tabular form according to their increasing order of atomic weights, in which the vertical columns were called as groups and the horizontal rows were called as periods. There are 7 periods and 9 groups. Out of these 9 groups, except 0 and 8 group, all other groups are subdivided into 2 groups, that is group A and group B. This group A generally represents the normal or main group elements, and group B represents the transition elements. And importantly, the 8th group consists of total 9 elements, which are arranged into 3 subgroups. There is no any designation in terms of numbering, but there are total 9 elements in the 8th group. When it comes to the merits of the Mendel periodic table, hope it is clear so far. Right? Let me remove this for readiness continuation. This Mendeleev's periodic table are also called as short form of periodic table. It is also known as short form of periodic table. Mendeleev's periodic table is also regarded as short form of periodic table, whereas modern periodic table is regarded as long form of periodic table. When you are talking about the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table, here the first thing is that he has simplified the classification of elements by proposing periodic law by relating with the atomic weights. Simplify the classification of elements. This was the first advantage from that of the Mendeleev's classification. Secondly, he had the foresight. He had the foresight of discovery of new elements and left some gaps in between his periodic table. He left some gaps in between. Even though he has gone arranging the elements with the atomic weights, he gave the equal priority to the properties also, without sticking to the simple atomic weight, yes, consider the properties also. By considering the properties, whenever there is a large gap between two consecutive elements, generally we found that when he has arranged the elements in the increasing order, generally the difference of atomic weight between two consecutive elements will be 2 to 3. If there is a large gap, then he thought that there might be a new element which could be discovered in the future. So by keeping in mind, he left some gaps in his periodic table, which is actually reason for the discovery of so many elements in the later. That was the one of the main advantage of Mendeleev's periodic table. Let us see what are the gaps he left and what are the elements that discovered later. The first gap he left is below the boron, which is called as ecoboron, which later discovered to be scandium. Another element is eco-aluminium, which is later discovered to be gallium. Another element later discovered is eco-silicon, which was found to be germanium. These are the three important gaps that Mendeleev has left and the elements that have been discovered later. You need to remember the gaps where he has left and the elements that were discovered later. Ecoboron, scandium, eco-aluminium, gallium, eco-silicon, germanium. Right? Now, third important advantage of Mendeleev's periodic table is that he has corrected atomic weights of some elements, atomic weights of beryllium, indium, gold, platinum and uranium. You need to remember all these 5 elements. Yes, corrected the atomic weights of beryllium, indium, gold, platinum and uranium by using corrected valences. He has corrected the atomic weights by using the corrected valences. For example, if you are talking about beryllium, earlier beryllium's atomic was considered to be 13.5. This is the earlier atomic weight. Because earlier the valency of beryllium was considered to be 3. Actually, the way of calculation at the time of Mendeleev, they used to calculate the atomic weight by using a relation. Atomic weight is equal to equivalent weight into valence. Earlier, the valency of the beryllium was considered to be 3. The equivalent of weight of beryllium is 4.5 and the corrected valency of the beryllium was found to be 2. So that its atomic weight has been corrected from 13.5 to 9. This is the actual corrected atomic weight of the beryllium. Like this, he has corrected the atomic weights of beryllium, indium, iron, platinum and uranium. You need to remember all these 5 elements, the competitive aspect. You may be asked which of the following element is being corrected. Which of the following elements atomic weight is being corrected by Mendeleev. You might get one of these options in the multiple choice questions. Right? These are the main merits of the Mendeleev's periodic table. Yes, he had the foresight of discovery of new elements and left some gaps which were discovered later, and he also corrected the atomic weights of certain elements. Those elements are beryllium, indium, iron, platinum and nickel. At the same time, there are some demerits. Demerits of Mendeleev's periodic table. The main demerits of Mendeleev's periodic table were: the first was no fixed position for hydrogen. There is no fixed position for hydrogen. Secondly, isotopes has not given separate positions. What What is the main criteria of classification of elements according to the Mendeleev? He has arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic weights. In case of isotopes, suppose if you are talking about hydrogen, hydrogen has three isotopes: protium, deuterium, tritium. When you are taking the criteria of atomic weight, the one hydrogen should possess three places in the periodic table. If you are talking about carbon, carbon has two isotopes, C12 and C14. That means carbon should be given two positions in the periodic table when you are going with the atomic weights. But he has not done so because he has given the priority to the properties, even though he has taken the criteria of the atomic weights. This is the second drawback. Not given separate position for the isotopes. And the main important drawback of the Mendeleev's periodic table is that he has violated his own periodic law by placing lighter elements are placed after heavier elements. These are called, for example, if you are talking about argon and potassium. If you observe their atomic masses, argon was found to have 40 and potassium was found to have 39. According to the Mendeleev's periodic law, he should arrange the elements according to their increasing order of atomic weights. But here if you see, the heavier argon atom is placed before the lighter potassium atom. These type of pairs are called as inverted pairs. What they are called? Inverted pairs they are called. Right? The same manner, we have another pair, cobalt and nickel. Cobalt will be having 58.9 and nickel will be having 58.6. The same manner, tellurium and iodine. Tellurium is having 127.5, iodine is having 127. Another pair is there, that is thorium and tritium. The atomic weight of thorium is 232 and the atomic weight of tritium is 232. All these pairs are very important in objective point of view. You may get any one of these pairs, you need to remember them: argon, potassium, cobalt, nickel, tellurium, iodine and thorium, tritium. These are the merits and demerits of Mendeleev's classifications.